18 years ago, a little boy accompanied his grandfather to church for prayer, just as he did every time. As his grandfather bent down devoutly, a few coins slipped from his coat pocket, making a faint sound as they hit the floor. His grandfather didn't notice, but a nearby stranger did. The man hesitated for a moment, glanced around, and then, taking advantage of the fact that everyone had their eyes closed in prayer, quickly picked up the coins, tucked them into his pocket, and quietly retreated to a corner of the church. The little boy saw everything, and it made him uncomfortable. But he didn't speak up right away. When his grandfather finished praying, he leaned in close and whispered, "Grandpa, I just saw someone. He picked up your coins." His grandfather smiled slightly, his wrinkles appearing kind and gentle. He lowered his head and softly said, "Dear child, don't tell anyone. And don't tell me who it was. I don't want to know. But I do want you to remember him." The little boy frowned in confusion and protested, "Grandpa, he took your money. And this is a church. He's a thief. How can he pray here?" His grandfather let out a quiet sigh, his expression growing serious. "Child, try looking at it from a different perspective. If a man does such a thing in a church, then his situation must be very difficult. His heart is probably even more tormented. We must not be too quick to judge. In the eyes of God, we are all children who make mistakes. But that doesn't mean we can't become better." He paused for a moment, then gently patted. He patted the little boy's shoulder, his voice both firm and gentle. "Heaven does not judge a person's worth by a few coins." The little boy fell silent. He looked into his grandfather's eyes. There was no anger, only kindness and understanding. From that day on, his grandfather asked the little boy to quietly send a package of daily necessities to the man every month, but never let him know who sent them. Many years later, time passed. The man left the town, and the grandfather passed away. The little boy grew up, while the church where they once prayed together fell into disrepair, overgrown with weeds and crumbling from neglect. Until one day, a businessman donated a large sum of money to expand and restore the church, bringing it back to life. The townspeople were grateful to this generous donor, yet no one knew his identity. The day the new church was completed, on the long-awaited day of the inauguration, the donor finally stepped onto the stage. Among the crowd, the little boy, now a young man, recognized him instantly. It was him, the man who had picked up his grandfather's coins 18 years ago. The man faced the crowd and spoke slowly, his voice trembling slightly. "In the most desperate time of my life, it was the messengers of God in this town who saved me. They gave me hope when I had none. In my darkest days, they made me feel warmth. I never knew who they were, but I knew that instead of exposing me, they chose to help me silently." He paused for a moment, his eyes soft as if lost in memory. "Once, I hid behind a tree. I saw that child leave supplies for me before quietly walking away." His voice choked slightly, his eyes glistening with tears. "That was the hardest time of my life. But their kindness pulled me through." The audience fell into complete silence, deeply moved by his story. He smiled faintly, his gaze firm as he looked toward the church. "I could never forget this town, nor this church. I wanted it to stand here forever." The townspeople, overcome with emotion, decided to engrave the donor's name in the most prominent place in the church. However, when the name was finally carved, it was not his own. It was the name of the little boy's grandfather. Dear viewers, if you like this story, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon for more videos. See you next video.